advanced class on Friday, somebody with a very advanced English skills. And first, we were talking about these phrases funny business or monkey business. Now, funny business means, the word funny, which, as you probably know, means ha ha ha. Ha ha ha, funny. But it also could mean strange or unusual or not right. So a lot of times when somebody says, "Oh, that's funny," it means, "Oh, that's strange. That doesn't seem right." And there's this expression, funny business, which means something is suspicious, something is strange, something isn't correct. I've got to move so you can see. Okay, and also I don't remember why we were talking about funny business and monkey business, but we were. Then we have monkey business, which means kind of acting stupid, acting ridiculous, acting like a child. A lot of children can be accused of monkey business. Maybe you tell the children if they're acting very crazy, "Stop the monkey business." I don't remember why we were talking about that. Let's see. Okay, now this person who is very advanced, mostly her problems are with pronunciation. So this class on Friday was mostly about pronunciation. And the first issue that we had was when she said effect. She was saying another word, the second word, affect. They're two different words. And the big difference is the accent. So maybe I should put numbers up here. Let me see. 1 and 2. Let's see. And by the way, if you're watching this live and you have questions, please ask the questions. Don't. I will try to watch the chat and answer any questions that you have as we go. Okay, so we have effect, which is like the result, and then we have affect. Let me actually make that big. So really, even the spelling is a little bit different, but the really big difference is in the accent. Where do you put the accent? So affect could mean like a facial expression or the expression of emotions through the face. Most of the time, you probably will be saying number 1, effect. So the accent is on the second syllable, effect, and that's like result. Then she was asking me, how do I talk about if I have a feeling, like an intuition about something? And then I had to get more information from her because, what was the first one? We've got common sense here. I have a gut feeling. What are the other examples here? Okay. So there were different ways to say it because you can say, I have a gut feeling about something. And this word gut, it's about your digestive system, your stomach, your intestines, what happens when you eat food, the way it goes through your body. The word gut is about your stomach or your digestive system. And when you say, I have a gut feeling, that means you have like a nervous feeling in your stomach, and it's about your intuition. So you use this expression, I have a gut feeling, when your body is telling you something is wrong, something is right. So that's one way to talk about your intuition. So you see gut, digestive system here. And by the way, a gut doctor is a doctor who looks at your digestive system. Another way to talk about intuition is to say something tells me. So maybe there's a little bit of evidence and you can say, something tells me you're not right. So maybe that means you have a little bit of information. Wait, let's see. I was thinking of using ChatGPT for this because, let's see, ChatGPT. because it can give you examples very quickly. So let's see. Let's see what it says. Or maybe we can play around with it a little bit. Okay, so I said, I asked ChatGPT, give me 10 examples of I have a gut feeling. Don't worry, we're not going to do 10 examples, but let's see. If someone says, I have a gut feeling that something isn't quite right about this situation. What that means, because gut, it's like your stomach. It means I have like a funny feeling in my stomach that something isn't right. I have like a physical feeling that something is wrong. Let's see. Even though I can't explain it logically, I have a gut feeling that we should proceed with caution. So in the second example, I can't explain it logically. I can't tell you why, but I have a feeling in my stomach. I have a gut feeling that we should proceed with caution. You see how they use that? Let's look at number 3. My gut feeling is telling me that we shouldn't trust that person. Did you ever meet someone and there's just something about them? You have a bad feeling in your stomach when you meet them. Then you say, I have a gut feeling about that person. Like, I can feel it in my stomach. They're not a good person. Okay, how about, let's try something tells me. Let's see. So when you say something tells me, it's like you're finding something out there that is giving you an indication it's not good. So let's see. Something tells me we shouldn't ignore those warning signs. Despite not having any evidence, something tells me he's hiding something from us. But you see, I think if you say something tells me, there is evidence. Maybe it's not obvious, but there's something there, something around you. You know, I have a gut feeling, I think, is about an internal process. But if you say something tells me, maybe it's more about what you see outside, externally. Something tells me we shouldn't trust him. He doesn't look like somebody to trust. Okay, let's see. Let's keep going here. Okay. Now, the most of the class, what we did was we talked about pronunciation. So she speaks English very well. She has a very good vocabulary. And for a long time, I've been working with her for a long time. But there's something I just, it's hard to understand her sometimes. And I think I finally noticed what it was. And it is the way that she uses vowel sounds. So she pronounces everything accurately, or mostly accurately. But the one big problem is the length of the vowel sounds that she makes. Okay, so let's look at these two first words here. Drugs, drugs, drugs. Okay, if I say the vowel sound shortly, drugs, drugs. And then let's say it with a little bit more time. Drugs, drugs. To me, it's hard to understand the first one if you don't give it enough time. Drugs. It's hard to understand that. But if you give the more length to the vowel sound, drugs, it becomes very easy to understand. So you could pronounce the letter accurately, but if you don't give it enough time, it becomes very difficult to understand. So so I think for the rest of this, we're going to be talking about pronunciation and the length. How long is the vowel sound? Is it short in period, short in duration, or long? So we were reading an article, and we were only focusing on the vowel sound length. Okay. So if I read this word, patience, 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 there are two vowel sounds in there. What do you think about them? Are they long or short? Are they both long, both short? Is it a combination? Patience. Two vowel sounds. And I think one of them is very long and one of them is very short. Which one is long? Patience. And which one is short? The A, which is actually two sounds. It's e. A is long and shunts is short. It seems like a very small thing, but if you have a habit of not giving enough time to your vowel sounds, it will be very difficult for people to understand what you're saying. So let's practice the length of the vowel sounds. It's a pretty common problem, I'm starting to realize. Patience. Patience. Give that A some time. And then shunts. Patience. Patience. This will greatly improve your pronunciation if you're having pronunciation problems. I saw it. I was working with her just on Friday. I was amazed at the difference that it makes. So this might be boring for you, and you might hate it, but trust me, let's do it, okay? So that's what this is going to be for the next, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, vowel sounds, okay? With. Again, this is actually a combination of sounds. With. You cannot go too quickly through it. If you try to do it too quickly, it will become difficult to understand, especially if it's with other words. With. That's long. It's a long sound, and it's two sounds. With. Patience. With. Okay, and now we get this phrase here. Broken. What do you think about that? One of these is long and one of these is short. Broken. Can you hear the difference? Can you hear the long sound and the short sound? Which one is long? Which vowel sound is long? Broken. Bro. It's actually two sounds. In a lot of languages, when you say the O sound, it's just O. But not in English. In English, it's actually two sounds. It's O. So it must be long because it's actually two sounds. Oh, bro. You can see how I finish with a kiss. I finish with a kiss. Bro. You have to finish with a kiss there. Broken. Can you hear the difference? There's a big difference, really. Broken. Long, short. Broken. And then we have the word backs. What do you think about that sound? Do you think that's short, or do you think it's long, It's long. So this is long, short, long. Broken backs. And what a lot of people do, this person spoke Spanish, but I know this happens with people who speak Chinese also, and other languages, but that try to do it all at one very short sound. Broken backs. I can't even do it. Broken backs. It's just, especially if you do it to one or two words, maybe I can understand you. But if you do it for every word, it becomes really difficult to understand what you're trying to say. But if you take your time, if you can start to notice the long sounds versus the short sounds, you will improve your pronunciation by 1,000,000%. Okay? Broken backs. Sounds so nice if you take your time. What about this word? Had. What do you think about that vowel sound in there? Is that head or is it had? It's very long. It's actually like three sounds. Hey. This is North American English we're doing. This sound could be very different in Australia or the UK, but in North America, it sounds like this. Had. And it's like three sounds. Had. Can you hear those three sounds? It's super long. Had. Let's go back. So let's see. Patients with broken backs. Can you say that? But pay attention to the length of the vowel sound. Patients with broken backs had. Patients with broken backs had. Okay. Now let's go to the next word here, which is surgical. I mean, this is not exact because sometimes I think it would be okay if you gave a very short vowel sound. And to me, let's see, surgical. Surgical. I'm going to say it like that. Surgical. What do you think about that? There are 3 vowel sounds in there. Surgical. Surgical. What do you think about sir? Is that long or short? It's long. Sir. What about j? Surge. Surge. That's short. Surge. What about ko? Ko. Surgical. See, I think sir could be short if you wanted it to be. That would be okay. Surgical. Surgical. I think that it could be short. I think that would be okay. Surgical. This is not exact. You have to just pay attention to what you hear from other people. Surgical. Surgical. I think that could be short. Surgical. Surgical. Either way, it's okay. Okay. Now let's try this next word here. Injected. 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 I think those are all short. Injected. 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 Okay. Now we get to something pretty interesting. We've got this word there. There. T-H-E-I-R. And this becomes a very important vowel sound because in some types of English, it isn't typical to pronounce the final R of a word. So, for example, in the UK, in the standard UK accent, and I think also in Australia, most people will not pronounce the R at the end of a word. So the vowel sound becomes very important here. Okay? So listen to me say this word very slowly. There. Okay? It's not there. Okay, maybe in rapid English, conversational English, it could be. But if we're taking our time and saying it very slowly, there. There. That's a lot of different sounds. There. It's like air. Air. So if you're in the UK or in Australia with no R at the end, what you don't hear the, you hear there, 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 or something like that. Something close to that. There. So it's not just eh. It's air. There. There. And then we were even comparing these two words. We've got the. What about that? So if we look at number 1, the, is that a long sound or a short sound? Oh, that's short. That's very short. But compare that to number 2. There. There. Don't pronounce the R. There. 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 Compare that to number 1. The. There. The. There. They sound different. They're different sounds. Okay, she was asking me about the expression pardon me because she said I was at work and somebody said pardon me or pardon, and she said, is that a word in English? Because you can of course say that in Spanish. You can say perdón, but she said I've never heard that in English. And I said yes, it's just like saying excuse me. I think it sounds a little bit more formal if you say pardon. You could. It's perfectly fine to say pardon me. Just means excuse me. Sounds a little bit fancier, a little bit nicer. Okay. Now let's take a look at this next word here, which is joints. Joints. Okay. So I guess you could even imagine, without even hearing it, it must be long because it's two vowel sounds together. It has to be a long sound. You can't run through this. You can't say joints. That would be hard to understand. But of course, remember that the O in English is two sounds. It's O. So this is oi, oi, oi. Joins, joins, joints. It's a very long sound. And you can't run through it. You can't say joints because that would become very difficult to understand. It's really important. If you want to improve your listening and improve your pronunciation, this little tip will help you so much to go through that, because it's something that is easily ignored, but it's very important. And then actually we got to this discussion of the difference between number 1 and number 2 here, this and these. And there's one very obvious difference, which is the ending, because in number 1, the ending is like the sound of a snake, this. And in number 2, the ending is the sound of an insect, these. And I think most people can hear the difference between that. But the other really big difference, which is not obvious, is the vowel sound. And many people speaking many different languages have a difficult time producing the difference between number 1 and number 2. So if we say number 1, this, a couple of things. First of all, this is a vowel sound that you eat, okay? What I mean is it goes down. It doesn't come out, it goes down. So when you're saying this, you should be pushing down. This, you push down. It's a sound that you eat, okay? And number 2, you do not eat number 2, you put it out. You push it out very strongly. These, you push it out. You can feel the air come up and push out. And another difference is that number 1 is short, very short in duration. This. You eat it and it's short. This. But number 2, you push out and it's very big and long. These. So there are 2 big differences between number 1 and number 2. Number 1 you eat, and it's very short in duration. This. And number 2 is very long and very big, and you push out a lot of air when you do it. These. Number 1, this. Number 2, these. So there's a big difference there. Maybe you don't think so, but it is. Okay, let's see. This becomes pretty interesting. There's an interesting thing here. So we're reading this article, but she knows all of the words. We're really just focusing on, and it's a medical. It was a medical article that we were reading, but we were just focusing on the pronunciation, on the short versus long vowel sounds. And so we have this phrase, these operations appeared. These, so we already know these, that E, it's very long, and you push it out. These. And then we get to operations. A lot of vowel sounds there. Operations. 4 vowel sounds. What do you think about them? Are they long or short vowel sounds? Operations. Can you hear the difference between the long ones and the short ones? That's short. Upper. 2 short ones. Operate. Then it's a long one. Operations. What about the final one? Is that long or short? Shins. Short. Operations. So we've got short, long, short. So that's operations. These, say those 2 words together. These operations. And then we have the final word here, which is appeared. So we have appeared. There's 2 vowel sounds. Appeared. What about the first one? Is that short or long? Appeared. Appeared. First one is short. Up. Up. That's short. That's very short. What about ear? Appeared. It's very long. It's very long. Appeared. Let's say that whole phrase, but let's focus on the duration of the vowel sounds. These operations appeared. These operations appeared. I'll say it very quickly. These operations appeared. Okay, that's how it sounds when it's quick. But we have to take our time and exaggerate and do it slowly to improve our pronunciation. But these operations appeared. These operations appeared. These operations appeared. Okay, and that while we were talking about this, I realized, if you look at these next two words, disappeared and these appeared, most people, because they don't like to pronounce the TH in English, and they don't like to distinguish between S, the snake, and Z, the bee, the insect, they almost sound exactly the same, except for the vowel sound. Because in number one, if I say number one, disappeared, disappeared, that first vowel sound, di, is that long or short? Disappeared, disappeared. Is that long or short? That's short. Di, disappeared, di. So you're eating it, and it's very short in duration. Di, disappeared. But compare that to number two. These appeared. These appeared. So if you ignore all the other differences, and most people do, who are learning English, the big difference is the vowel sound, the first vowel sound, because in number one, it's short, disappeared, disappeared. But in number two, it's very big, it's very long, and you push it out. These appeared. These appeared. So number one is disappeared, disappeared. And number two is these appeared, these appeared. So the really big difference here is that vowel sound. Disappeared, these appeared. Can you hear the difference? Can you say the difference? Disappeared, these appeared. Okay, that was the end of that class, and then I started another class, again with a very advanced person. And our first issue, we started with a conversation talking about the weather. He was in Spain, and he was in Barcelona, and he was saying, it's supposed to rain tomorrow, which is good, because we haven't had much rain recently. And what he said was there was a draft. But he didn't mean draft, he meant drought. A drought is a period with no rain. See this word here, drought, that's drought. That's a period of no rain. So he meant there was a drought in Barcelona, or the Barcelona area, in, what is that area called? Catalonia, right? And draft means something different. Draft, let me find a picture of a draft for you. See. Okay, can you see this? Let's see. Let me bring this up. So a draft is where you get beer from. That's draft beer. Almost spelled the same. They're a little bit different. They're a little bit different, but they sound very different. So this is draft beer. And if you spell... Let's see. So we've got drought. That's D-R-O-U-G-H-T, and it's pronounced differently. That's a period of no water. And then you have draft, which means like tap. Tap is a place where liquid comes out of. So you have the tap water from your kitchen or your bathroom. That's where the water comes out. That's a draft. You could call that usually that's just used for beer or something. And then there's draft, D-R-A-F-T, which means a lot of wind. So you have to be careful about these different words. Let's see, like the house gets drafty in the winter. That means you can feel the cold air coming in the winter, like wind in your house. Drafty old house. Okay. We were reading an article, and there were a couple of interesting vocabulary words here, so we'll just talk about those words. Let me find a picture here. The first word that we talked about is a pretty advanced word, actually, is harness. So the black thing around the horse is called a harness. And if you talk about harnessing your energy, that means like controlling your energy, or making your energy move into something creative or useful. Harnessing something means taking control over it. And he said, oh, that's like taking the reins, which I guess you can also say in Spanish. You can take the reins of something. And it is like taking the reins, except if you say harness, you must use an object. So you harness energy, you harness your anger, you harness your intelligence. That means you take control over it and you move it in the direction that you want. So when you say harness, you have to use an object. But when you say take the reins, that just means take control, and you don't need to use an object, because take the reins just means take control. Okay, now the next word that we had in this article, the vocabulary word, was the word snag, which is number 2. And you don't know that word. We'll talk about it in a minute. But before we do, let's talk about the difference in the sound, in the pronunciation of number 1, which is snack, and number 2, which is snag. Really, the only difference between number 1 and number 2 is when you say number 1, you push out a lot of air. Snack. Okay, if you put your hand up in front of your mouth, you can feel a big explosion of air. Snack. You can feel the air coming out when you say k. Okay, that's a K sound. And the difference between a K and a G is there is no air when you say a G. So if you say snag, there's no air coming out. You don't make any air. Snag, no air. It's something you eat instead of pushing out. Snack, you push out. Snack, you push that out. When you say snag, you eat it. You eat the G. You don't push it out. And that's the difference between snack, which is something that you eat, and snag. Let me find a picture of snag. It's a pretty advanced word because probably you don't know it. And it's used quite a bit in conversation. Let me see if I can find a good picture of a snag. I can't. Okay, we'll put like nail. Oh. Google's really horrible now. It just does not do a good job anymore showing you what you want to see. Let's say rusty nail. Anybody else notice that? Wow, this is really... I didn't have this problem the other day, actually. I was able to... Let's see. What do I put? Hit a snag. Oh, this is really horrible, actually. I wish I could find the picture that I used the other day with this guy. Let's see. Try to be very specific here, and maybe... Wow, Google really is horrible. It's gotten really bad. It doesn't return anything. Okay, maybe we can use this. Okay, do you ever have like a sweater or a piece of clothing and let me see if I can... Center this. See, I want nails, but not this kind of nail, like this kind. Did you ever have this happen to your clothes? You're walking past something and something grabs you, and then this happens to your clothes. Can you see that? Do I have any snags? My other sweater that I was wearing earlier had a snag. That's called a snag. So it's like a little something that catches you. You walk past and there's something sticking out and it catches you. That's a snag. And it is used in English meaning as an expression. Wait, let me... Oh, God. Okay. So look, like this. I put a little fake conversation here to show the meaning. Like, what happened to your sweater? You see like a piece sticking out. Oh, I hit a snag. That means like a little thing caught me. A little thing caught me and stopped me. And created a little problem. Okay. And so this expression, I hit a snag, means I've encountered a little problem. We have a little problem. So you can say that sometimes. So we hit a snag. That means there's a little problem with our plan or with what we're doing. It's a very common expression, even though snag is kind of an advanced word. It's used quite a bit, meaning we have a little problem. We hit a snag. All right. Well, actually, that is the end. We've reached the end of my notes. I think that went pretty well. I think I'll be doing this again. So these are notes from my actual classes that I teach. And I'm just talking about all of the things that we did in our classes. And well, I think that was useful. I think that let me know what you think about my little experiment today. Leave a comment. Did you find this helpful? Did you like it? Would you like to see more of it? I think I'm going to try it a little bit more. I think it was good. All right, well, thank you for staying for the entire English class, and I will see you next time. When I have more notes, I'll see you again, and we'll have another class, okay? See you next time. Goodbye.